because I forgot today was September, pardon me?
No, I turned the recording on, and so
Okay.
it has to let everybody know.
I forgot that today was the 27th of September. How's that? That's a weird, go figure that one out. I don't remember how I could have forgotten that, but I did. Anyway, so hi. People that are in the office, I plan on coming back, but for some reason I just keep staying out and I don't know why. I've been really super busy and trying to do stuff. One thing I haven't been doing is open houses. And it's been really interesting to see the impact on my business. It has been a negative impact on my business. And I noticed it during, when we had the lockdown and COVID and all that, and we weren't doing open houses, I just kind of like sat back and didn't pay too much attention to it because we weren't allowed to. What I've noticed about me springing back into action is that I'm not springing. I want to do open houses, but it's not as easy to schedule them as we're on the board. I used to be able to right now with open is that for somebody coming in new, I think the challenges are pretty extreme. And for people like me, the challenge is extreme because I don't have the motivation I used to have, and I have to get that back. I mean, I used to do, I think last year, not before COVID, I had something like 56 open houses for the year, which is more than one a week. And I was married to it. I got a lot of business from my open houses and I love them. I scheduled them every weekend, and usually I had listings so that I could do my own open houses. And if I didn't have my own listings, people were always reaching out to me to do their open houses because I had a really good conversion rate. This year, things have changed dramatically. And I don't know if anybody else has noticed that. You don't have to turn people's mics off because they might want to start talking to me. That's what I think.
No, they turn it on. They have their own control of their mic. So
okay, so you guys. Okay, great. You guys can interrupt anytime you want. And I don't know if other people have found the same challenges I have. Has anybody else noticed that this year, except for Tabitha? No?
So Catherine, that's a great point because Tabitha's been consistently doing open houses and her business has blown up. So that's a great point.
Well, yeah, it is. And the reason I'm mentioning her is because I was at her training the other day and she was talking about open houses, and I thought it was really interesting that what she does to get them is a lot different than what I have been doing to get them. So I kind of appreciate it. And I don't know if anybody was there for her training, but she networks to make sure that she has them. If she doesn't have a listing, she networks with people in the office to make sure that she does have something scheduled for the weekend. That is my goal because I don't have any listings. And frankly, the second I get them, I either sell them to my own buyers, which just happened to me. So I didn't even get to do an open house. I just hooked them up and deal done. So it's very hard for me to get that open house thing. One of the things that I noticed about the open houses that I have done is the amount of traffic running through or 38 people coming to your open house, whether or not they have a realtor, it doesn't really matter. I had a very hard time connecting with anybody. Did you, Lori?
I had a lot of people come through. I just don't have any luck picking up buyers. I did the last time I did one, turn it on. But they didn't stick with me. I don't know why. They said they were, but what they were looking for was so hard and so picky. And I brought that up on like the last meeting, like a couple of meetings ago, but it was still, I just couldn't find them what they wanted. They were just so picky. So I think, and I've reached out to them a couple of times and they've never responded back. I just never have luck with buyers. I mean, at open houses, never at an open house.
Well, you know what, I can talk about that in a second. What I wanted to because of the volume, do you think it's because of the volume of people that are walking through?
No, when I first started with Weichert, over a year ago, I got one solid buyer, one. And actually, because of COVID, they've stuck with us this whole time. And we actually just started back again.
Oh, cool.
With them. Yeah.
Well, so when you say you had one solid buyer and they kind of took a breather, maybe the same people that were super picky are ready to start thinking about jumping into the market again. You never really know, even though they don't follow up, even though they don't respond.
They were really ready. I met them maybe a month ago, and they were already working with another agent, but not solid. And they really liked the way I talked to them, and they were happy with the way I was I mean, I sat them down kind of like Gloria. I had learned from Gloria, you sit with them, you talk to them, find out what they want. And they really liked that about me. They liked that a lot. And I was sending them stuff, and I only sent them what they were really particular about, what they really wanted. And then they only responded twice, and I haven't heard back from them, but I still send them stuff. And I send them stuff, and and I send them, like, the only thing I'll say is like, hey, I know this isn't as open as you wanted, but you can knock out this wall, because they say we don't mind knocking down a wall to make it more open, because we don't want that formal living room.
Got it. So so instead of giving them ideas in the email, there's another option for you. One is, I have a lot of ideas for this particular house. You need to call me so I can go over them with you. I mean, instead of giving them all the information, you have to draw them in. So like, I believe that you give people a certain amount of information and then they want to come back to you. But also, if you give them the whole book, from A to Z, there's really no reason for them to come back. This still isn't what we're looking for. Oh, blah, blah, blah. So what you have to do is do something open-ended so that they can actually want to call you and want to pick your brain. So I always try to figure out a way to make sure that people want to pick my brain, because my brain is worth picking. I mean, I have a lot of experience. I've redone my own house. I've redone other people's houses. I have vision. And so that's what you should do with those people. And the other thing about connecting at open houses, like, I personally have a hard time connecting when 38 people walk through my open house. So that's the point I was on right now. Like, 38 people coming through, and I'm assuming you and Fred do it together, open houses. Okay, see, like, that's a good plan. I don't have that. So when I have 38 people walking through my open house, I just don't connect, and I don't have the same conversion rate that I used to have when it was 7 people walking through my open house in a 3 or 4 hour period. So one of the things that I suggested to another office that had me do this open house seminar for them, I suggested that they start pairing up with people. So that, like, if you're managing traffic outside, let's say the weather's really nice and you're managing the open house traffic outside, the person pairing up with you and you're sharing the business with them, they can actually start talking to people outside and start that level of rapport, trying to build that rapport. And then when they come inside, it's just going to be an extension of you and building more rapport. And then you guys, the two people can, or three people for that matter, if it's a huge house, it could be three people. You guys can share notes, who really connected, who should be the follow-up, and how you guys are going to hold each other accountable for actually following up with the people that showed up to the open house. Because that's the other thing. I have paired up with people and they said, oh, I followed up with everybody and nobody returned my call. Well, I just have a hard time believing that. And I'm not saying people lie, but people want to please me. And so they want to say stuff like that. So they want to say, yeah, I followed up and I'll, as soon as I hear back from them, I'll let them know. But you guys have to be accountable to each other in that particular situation, because you're both splitting the business. You know what I mean? And so it benefits you all to split and share and follow up. And if you discover the person you're sharing with is not following up and not doing their end of the chores, basically, which nobody likes doing it, but except for Tabitha, but nobody really likes doing it. And so anyway, I just think it's really important to have a team effort with these gigantic open houses. The smaller open houses, I mean, if it's been on the market for a while, you're not going to have 38 people to the open house, and it's easy to do it yourself and easy to manage it yourself. The way I do the small open houses, and you probably all know this except for the brand new people. I always smile, introduce myself, and say, how did you hear about the open house? If they tell me, oh, we were driving by and we just saw the sign, then I get to tell them all about the house. If they said, oh, we saw it on Zillow, or our realtor sent us, those two things give me total information about where I go from there. So if they don't know anything, I get to introduce them to the house and pretend that I'm going to sell them that flipping house if my life depends on it. And if they don't like the house, I can find out what they don't like room from room, what they don't like about the house, so that my cat is driving me crazy, so that I can figure out what I can do to get them a house that they love. What's most important about open houses, I think, and I'll just keep rattling away until somebody says they want to hear something else or have a question. And this was my biggest thing with Tabitha when I was talking to Tabitha about doing open houses early on in her career. She would do a lot of my open houses, and she kept saying, I'm going to sell this for you, Catherine. I'm going to sell this for you. And her whole goal was to sell that open house. And I kept saying, your goal is to sell you, not the open house. I mean, if you happen to sell that house, awesome. Great, I'm so happy, but you are really there to sell yourself, because you never know if somebody's going to love the house or not love the house. And the only way you're going to get business for yourself is by actually selling yourself to the people that are walking through. Everything is face-to-face for me. I don't do well without face-to-face contact. That's why open houses were so important to me in my business, because of that face-to-face. I get to be funny. I get to show my sense of humor. I get to do, I get to banter with people. I get to see their expressions about what they like. I get to see if they don't like me. I try to mirror their personalities. And if I can't, then I just kind of figure not everybody's meant to be with me. Not everybody's meant to work with me. And I don't take it personally like I used to at the beginning. I used to bawl my eyes out that people didn't want to work with me. But now it's sort of I attract people that like me now. And so I go for that. I also attract some difficult people, like we all do. And that's just the way it is. But generally speaking, the intro about making sure that everybody knows that, not everybody, where they're coming from, really sets the tone. Then if they're from Zillow, I never ask them if they have a realtor. Other people do. I don't. And then I try very hard. Once I know that they're from Zillow, I try really hard to sell myself as the expert in my field. Oh, I live in this neighborhood, or the reason I got this listing is because of blah, 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 blah. And I have, and I love working with buyers. I always tell buyers, I love working with buyers. The other thing is that a lot of times people come into open houses and they're sellers, and they're trying to interview you to see if you're the person that they'd like to list with. And that's another thing that I learned over the years, because I used to be just looking for buyers. And then all of a sudden I started asking the right questions. When they start saying, oh, I live in Morris Township, but I really want to move to Mountain Lakes, I go, oh, do you have a house to sell? Do you have to sell a house? And then they go, some people are very straightforward and other people are cagey. And if they are forthcoming and they go, yeah, I have to sell a house, then it's great. I'm watching Lori drive. This is really fun. So anyway, so like, that's the thing.
I'm a bad driver too. I swerve in and out.
I don't doubt it. So anyway, and then I don't discount the possibility that a seller is there as well. Does anybody have any questions so far? I feel like I'm just rambling on, and I'm not doing the stand-up routine. I'm sitting down.
No, you're doing great.
No,
You're doing great.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's great information.
I find
Okay.
I have a hard time, even though they're looking at houses and want to buy, but they don't want to jump because they are afraid of where they're going to go. They don't want to sell their house until they know exactly where they're going, and by that time, someone else already bought the house. Like they
Yeah,
don't
what
wanna-
you do, no, what you do is you say, oh my gosh, everybody feels that way. I
I know.
totally get it. Everybody feels that way, and I've got solutions for you. How about if I come over and see your house? I've
they
got the
just-
solution.
They're figuring if they can't buy that house right away, they're not going to have any place to go. And
It
some of
doesn't
them, you
matter.
can't
It doesn't
convince
matter.
them.
It doesn't matter. Your point, your goal is to figure out how to solve their problem, period.
I know.
Right? And so like for instance, this woman called me. It was a referral. She said, I want to list my house, but I don't know when. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to move. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to find anything. She's elderly. And I said, I understand. Let me come over and look at your house. I went over and looked at the house. I scheduled professional photographs right away. I said, well, at least we have to get professional photographs while the pool is open, because the pool is getting ready to be closed and the weather's nice. And even if you list next year, at least we'll have pretty weather photos. And she was like, oh my God, that's such a great idea. And it is a great idea. So what you do is you set it up, and then I ended up listing her house as a Weichert exclusive without it going public even to Weichert. It was just a simple exclusive. And I said, let me see if I can show you houses that you might like. She wanted to move to a 55 and older community. I went down to Brick and saw the biggest pieces of trash I've ever seen in my life. I drove her home. She cried hysterically all the way home. She goes, I'm not moving. I said, I don't blame you. These are horrible. I said, let's just go see this one place tomorrow. She fell in love with it. It wasn't in Brick. It was in Somerset, closer to her son. She goes, oh my God, this is my home. And then I took my buyers to see her house. And my buyer said, we love this house and we want to buy it. And please don't list it, because we're tired of losing bidding wars. And they reached an agreement on a price. Debbie, you're
Good, thank God. Look, no, don't tell her. Let her stay on mute.
Oh, you're funny. Debbie, you're on mute. Debbie, you're on mute.
I
There
forgot
you
what I
go.
was gonna say. It's over. I
Oh,
don't remember. It's okay.
you're just over there flailing your arms around? huh?
No, you know what happened? I'm sorry, 'cause you know what? I have dogs and they bark, so I try to keep it off.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
you
my-
know,
yeah,
he
it's
likes
like
to get
my
involved.
cat. Got it.
What happened to me is by the time they're selling, we find something, by the time they put in an offer, they're not getting that this is a crazy market and there's 22 other people that are outbidding you. And then their house is sold. Now they're backing out. I'm like, because it's not a normal market. There's always too many people for one house. That's my problem I'm running into. I can sell
I
her
understand.
house. I can't find her anything.
I understand.
So she's
Well,
holding back.
so I know this is not about open houses, but let me, I mean, how old is she?
She's 58.
Well, okay, so a 58-year-old, my recommendation to a 58-year-old, it would be, you're never going to see this kind of price again for your
That's what I
house.
did.
And I know, well, hold on, you're never going to see this kind of price again for your house. What I recommend, and I would do it, let me show you some rentals for the time being until we find you a house. I know it will require moving twice. However, are you up for it? Because I think the market could even go down.
We think alike, because I'm showing her rentals in Bloomfield and she's panicked. I go, no, we need to clean everything out of this place, put it in a storage until we find you something. You could stay with your daughter. Now's the time. And it's just, I've scheduled what's her name? Carlos's Patty so many times to take pictures. And I'm like this, I go. So I'm just holding my breath going, you're losing out. You could get top dollar for this right now and you're just losing out. I'm like, so I'm
Okay, well,
moving
the
on.
other thing, can I give you another, I mean, it says my internet is unstable, so I just, if it is, let me know. What I've learned, because I've been in this business now for 16, 17 years, and I'm not by any means a pro. I'm just good at what I do most of the time. What I think works best is being neutral. Just stay real neutral, because the second people feel like you're pushing them into a direction that isn't going to help them, or they're uncomfortable with it. See, I always couch things as I say that I don't think you're ever going to see a price like this again, but it doesn't matter if you're not comfortable with these options. Here are solutions. And if you're comfortable with one of them, we should explore them. If you're not comfortable with them, then that's fine. And we will just wait till the market levels out. I mean, there's no other alternative. The buyers that bought this client's house, they were willing to wait until the market stabilized, because they had lost so many, they lost so many houses on multiple offers. They cried. They kept crying. It was pathetic. Now, because they have a house and they paid over asking, the woman, my seller, decided what she was willing to sell it to him for, and they agreed to do it. And Anthony got the deal done. But I'm just saying, if you act neutral, because the woman who was crying all the way home from Brick, I said, if we can't find you anything, and you don't want to move into a rental, and you don't want to rent an RV for a year. Now, RVs are kind of off the table, aren't they? I know. I was using my RV.
Pretty cool.
I
No
know. I
property
was
tax,
using my
park in Walmart.
I know. I was using my RV up until Gabby died. I was using, hey, rent an RV for a year and love it. And then now that's off the table. But so if they're just not comfortable with anything except the traditional way of doing things, and
Yep.
some people aren't,
You're cutting out. I'm losing you. Can you hear me now? Everybody's.
You lost her.
There you go. You're back.
I'm talking to you guys as if you can hear me.
I can hear you now. What'd you say?
Now I can hear you. Okay. It makes sense. It's just that they're panicking, and like even the interest rates are so low, and you know, I said, you called me. You'll want to sell, so let's do this. It's all going to work out. It's no different than any other time. You still have to bid accordingly. You have to really get in there and be part of the game if you want to win. That's what it
Is
is
she
right now.
downsizing?
Yes, she's going from
Oh,
owning
cool.
to renting. But rentals, there's nothing out there either.
Got it.
And
Well,
now she wants a
it's a
little
very
dog.
frustrating, it's a very frustrating market for
It
everybody.
is. I've never
I know,
written
it's-
so many offers and lost in my life, and they're good
Yeah,
ones.
yeah.
They're over.
Yeah, yeah. It just, I know, it's a very
Now when they
frustrating
call,
market.
oh, well, I want to go in 10,000 under. I'm like, we can't even waste time doing that. You can't even, it's only been on the market 2 days. No one's going to look at you, you know, until they
Well,
lose 5 or 6
so
times.
I understand I understand it's a difficult market. So let's shift back to open houses and how open houses can help you build your I don't know, build your business, because that's really what we're talking about. I mean, I think open houses build your business. I personally know the big listers in our office, and so does Tabitha, and she always gets to them before me, which really irks me. But anyway, it happens. But I reach out, I reach out to them and say,
I got
"Look,
one for you on
available
Sunday, Catherine. I'll have one for you on Sunday if you want to do it, okay?
You got a listing, Tabitha?
Of course I do, Catherine.
No,
Together,
did you just get a new
Together?
one? Did
Huh?
you get that one?
Oh, I'm working on that one, but no, I have one coming up. I'm gonna list it on Friday. We're gonna do open house on Sunday.
Awesome. What town?
Rockaway.
Awesome.
White Meadow.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Do you want to
That's
do it,
where-
Catherine?
Sure.
Mm.
We'll
Oh.
have 30, we'll have 60 people there.
Okay. Let's do
Trust
it.
me. Okay.
All right. All right.
That's where my house was. I just sold in Rockaway. It was great.
All right, we'll talk.
Okay. Thank you, Tabitha, for the opportunity.
Of course, right?
Yes. So anyway, I used to be a really big lister, and all of a sudden with COVID, all of a sudden things, and also we don't have big listings anymore. I mean, everything has shifted. I mean, everything. So what I would be doing during open houses is I'd be calling people or texting them the second they walk out the door. Just say, it was great meeting you. If you have time, if you don't have 60 people at your open house and you have 10 people at your open house, in between, instead of looking at Facebook or instead of like reading or texting a friend saying, I can't wait for wine tonight. You might want to text the people that came to the open house saying, I'm following up. Thanks so much for coming. I am going to be talking to you soon because I just heard of another house that's coming on the market. I would string them on as long as you can, because the more they think that you're going to service them, the more they're going to want to work with you. It's all about service. It's like when I go to, when I go to a restaurant and they don't ask me how my food is, it annoys me because I'm spending a fortune and they're not checking in on me. They're not bothering to pay attention to me. People don't like annoyance. They don't like people to bug them constantly, but they sure do like people to think about them and know that you're thinking about them and you are looking for them and you are scrubbing for them. You know what I mean?
Yes. Did you see Vin commented, great point, the restaurant thing. That's a great point.
Thanks, Vin.
Yeah, I like that analogy.
Yeah, because if there's somebody sitting, for instance, the reason I'm thinking about it is because I went to a restaurant with somebody and the waiter thought he was part of our dinner party. And he just sat there trying to entertain our group. And finally somebody said, dude, you're not invited. And made him leave. So you can that's why it's all this balancing act. I mean, and open houses are a dance. If you don't see it as a dance, if you come on too strong, they're going to back off. If you come off like you're weak, they're not going to have interest. If you come off like your own true self, people are going to connect with you. And it's all about being authentic, and acting like you're trustworthy. And if you're not trustworthy, then you need to work on that, because that's what people want. They want somebody they can trust.
100%, 100%. And I love, it's so true, guys. We always think we're bothering people. We always are afraid we're bothering people. We're in the service business. We're there to service. If you're asking someone, you're giving them advice or helping them out with their home sale, or just asking them what they thought of the house, how is that bothering somebody? It's not. It's just being like Vin said, a great analogy. When you're sitting at a table having dinner or a breakfast, for instance, I know someone who has a pet peeve if they don't have someone pouring coffee in their cup every 5 minutes, right? Because they want that coffee hot. So it's not a bother to them if that person comes over and asks. So it's the same thing. We're here to service our clients and to be the professional. Don't let Zillow and Realtor.com pretend that they're the professionals, because they aren't. They can never provide the service or the relationships that we provide in our business, ever. It is such a personal relationship.
So for you all doing an open house, I would even use that restaurant idea. I would say, look, this is the way I work. I don't want you to feel like you're being ignored at a restaurant. I want you to know what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be paying attention to what you're looking for. And I'm going to make sure that you're on my hot list. I always say I have a hot list, and I'm going to keep my eyes out for you. And I just want you to know, I'm not going to ignore you. That's it.
Yes. That's
yeah. And Peter, you're right. Keep chasing until they tell you to stop. And it's true, because, I quit. There was this one couple and I loved them, and I showed them a bunch of houses, and they just finally said, we're not really going to buy a house. We've changed our goals. I'm going to still work in Manhattan and blah, blah, blah. And so I said, okay, well, just so you know, when the time comes and you've changed your mind and you are going to move to Morris County, be sure to reach out to me. And so all I did was send them 4 emails a year. I sent them holiday emails and spring, and I think I sent them Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, and spring and fall. That's pretty much it. I mean, I didn't overdo it, but I said, don't forget me, or something like that. I just said, from Katherine Adcock. And sure enough, last year they called me and said, oh, COVID, our lives changed. We're gonna buy in Morris County after all. And they bought a $1.4 million house. And it was an awesome transaction because they were ready to go. So, and I met them at an open house. So it's neat, but you just keep chasing. But it's a balancing act. I mean, I'm not aggressive. I've never been aggressive. That's just not who I am. Other people might be really aggressive and it works very well for them. But for me, it's sort of like, I kind of let them call the shots, but at the same time, I stay in touch.
That's honestly, very great information. If anyone's like me, I can listen to you, Katherine, all day long, 24/7. Because you have a great way about you. You talk so practical, but in everything you say, it's like just the way, here's options, here's solutions. All of those terms, all of those words are like the best words to use when you're working with someone, or if you want to build a relationship with somebody. So, and that's what you're all about. You're truly someone who likes to build a relationship. And that's why you approach people that way, is because that's where you come from, your heart. So I think it's amazing. You do an amazing job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. So that's all I got, guys. about it. Oh, and Tabitha mentioned something at her thing also. People are doing open houses, but I noticed that Waker does way more than everybody else, because when I drive around, I see Waker open houses everywhere. But it doesn't matter if you're a Waker agent and a Waker realtor and another Waker realtor is doing an open house, you still want the business. So what I recommend is you being in touch with them on Sunday evening in some form. Frankly, I think phone calls are the best way to do it, even if they don't pick up. I think it's the best way to reach out to somebody, phone calls. And although young people, they really love texting, they really do. And so I'll call them, and then I'll text a follow-up to the phone call. I just left you a message. Nice meeting you. You're on my hot sheet for looking for houses in, Boonton Township, and
Oh, no.
We lost her a minute. We lost her a minute. But just a point about that,
Brent,
and
please.
this is so important. I used to make appointments. I'm sorry. I used to call people either on my way home while I was picking up signs. I would pick up a sign, go in my car, call them. If I had something planned that evening on a Sunday night, or I'd call them that Sunday night between 7 and 7:30. And I found that when I didn't do that and I called them the next day or the next 2 days after or 3 days after, they didn't remember how open house it was or what, but they've already gone on with their lives, people. So when you're waiting till Monday and now they had to get the kids to school or they had to go to work or they're running their dog at the dog park, whatever it is that they're doing, they're like, who, what, where? Oh yeah, wait, I think I remember. You have to be like Katherine said. I love that she did it right then and there, that she sent the text right then and there to them. But you have to follow up that evening. And you know what? So many of them that you talk to are going to say, oh, you're the first person who did that, because agents aren't doing it consistently.
oh, and the other thing, Sunday is not a social hour. So you're just sitting, if you think you're just
Oh, my God.
I think she lives in another
fine.
country.
Yeah, so
What did you say?
Yeah, she wants you to finish what you were saying, that it's not a social hour and that's where you cut off.
She's cut off again.
Mhm. I could tell you what I think she was about to say. Which is, you're not going there, taking time away from your family, your friends, your life on a Sunday when you can be enjoying other things, to go there and just meet people like it's a social hour and you're at a party and then not follow up with them afterwards, right? You have to do all of the things in order to be successful at an open house. So if you just go
And one
and
other
I didn't
thing.
meet anybody, then I didn't, did you follow up? Did you consistently follow up? There's so many steps.
And then another really important point that I learned from Virginia, like that thing, always be closing, always be closing. Virginia is really good at open houses. Back in the day, she was like hot at open houses too. And she said when she connects with somebody, she goes, how about if we look at houses on Wednesday night? I mean, she sets the appointment right then and there, or instead of waiting. And if you feel like you connect with somebody really that well and they're not rushing out the door to go to the next open house or whatever, just say, how about if I schedule it? If there are two of you, I want to show you, not really, but let's say I have two houses I want to show you. But the other thing about open houses, houses and say, hey, I want to show you these open houses, and the team person, let's go to this house, let's go to that house. And then you're like giving them feedback on the houses and you're learning more about I'd really like to see what you think houses. And that way I'll know more.
Kelly, we didn't hear your laugh this time.
I was writing the old notes.
And if you keep thinking you're helping, you're going to be in a much better position for helping.
So could you go back to your, not a social hour? Because you never finished, we never finished that. You said it's not a social hour.
Oh, you
and
never.
stopped.
Oh, Sunday is not a social hour. Sunday open houses are not a social hour. It's not like you're babysitting a house. It's not like, I mean, you're there to work. And I have to tell you, I have known the reason I know this is because I've done it. I have gone to an open house and not been all pumped up. I'm prepared, always prepared, but I'm not pumped up thinking I'm going to get something out of it. And I just kind of sit there. And they come through and I act charming and I act nice, but I don't have my game on. And I don't know how to say it any other way other than I just don't have my game on. I just don't care if they pick me or not. I don't care if I get business from it that day. I don't care if, like I'm just blank. I mean, I'm nice, I'm good, but I'm not trying to close. I'm not trying to set an appointment. I'm not doing all those things I know to do. And it turns out to be like I'm babysitting a house. It's not a good place to be in, not in your head. It's not good for your business at all to just babysit somebody's house. So somebody else can sell it.
Mhm.
That's
So
all
what
I was saying.
I assumed that that's what you were saying. So how I approached it to them was that, if you're taking time away from your family, your friends, just your own time on a Sunday, be prepared to follow up. Be prepared to make sure that you're going to do everything you can to obtain a client from there, if there is a client to obtain. Do everything in your power.
Yep. That's it. So it's not
Anyone else
social.
have any questions?
It's work.
It's work, yeah.
Do you ask them if they're working with somebody?
No. They usually tell me though, at some point, like if they say, I saw it on Zillow, my realtor sent me, then I know that they have a
Yeah.
realtor. And I go, oh, really? Who is it? Who's the realtor that you're working with? And then they'll say, it's interesting. I can't remember. Do you remember their name? And I said, well, just in case you're not happy or you want to work with somebody who specializes in this area, here's my card or here's my number, or I'm going to text you just in case. And I always say that just in case, because you never know. They might break up with you. They might break up with their realtor, just like people have broken up with me, because they found somebody they liked working with better. You never know.
Very good point. Very good point.
Do you ask them to sign in right away, or
Do you ask what?
do you ask them to sign in right away when you meet them, or do you let them
Oh,
go
that's
through the
another
house?
good question. No, I meet people at the door and I put all the sign-in stuff in the kitchen, and then they always go, well, where do I sign in? And I said, well, I think it'd be a good idea for you to get your eyes on the house and look around. Why don't you do that? And I'll meet you in the kitchen, or I walk through the house with them and point out features. It depends. Some houses, it really deserves pointing stuff out. And then I check in, check out, check in, check out. Like I'm kind of like, I'm mobile. I'm real mobile. I never sit down during open house. And then in the kitchen, I have them sign in, and I go, oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you. I think I heard about a new listing coming on the market. Let me make sure I know how to read your email. And then I read it to them so that I can send you the information, maybe even before it hits the market. So. And
how do you handle?
Sorry,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How do you handle multiple groups in at a time? What's your procedure? Because you can't connect it with the same level of enthusiasm when you have so many people.
I agree, Vin. That's a big challenge with this market. And at the beginning, I kind of thought it'd be I think it's a good idea to have more than one person at an open house nowadays, so that you can double or triple team them. And then somebody will connect, and then somebody can walk through with one group and somebody can walk through another group. You'll connect with somebody that way. If you have a hot new house coming on the market and you know it's hot and you know there's going to be 60 people or 30 people coming through, it only makes sense to not try to get it all yourself, because you're not going to get anything yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was crazy in the summer. It was like 90 degrees out, and I felt bad leaving people outside in line.
Uh-huh.
And
Well, during
the house is-
COVID,
needs new
Zoom knows how
internet.
to stop her in the oddest faces. Zoom just gets her. Mm.
Gotta get a
Needs
better
BIOS.
internet provider.
one of the things that you could have,
You're cutting out.
Well, while we're waiting for her, I just want to add something, guys. Honestly, if you heard other brokerages had an open house app, you guys would be like, why don't we have the open house app? I want the open house app. But yet we have the open house app and very few people use it. I understand it was glitchy at the beginning. I understand, but still, maybe you put it on. Maybe you say, sign in for me. You mind signing in here, and say, don't press submit yet. And then you take it and do a screenshot real quick and then hit submit, so you have the information. Like, there's different ways to do things, or have a backup so if you see it doesn't go through. But I mean, that's like key in this day and age, especially with younger people who embrace technology. They don't want a piece of paper ever in their hand. They don't even know what paper is. To hand them your tablet and say, please sign in here, and say, don't hit submit, if you wouldn't mind handing it back to me real quickly. And then, like I said, do a quick screenshot and then hit submit. Now you have the information. Like, there's ways to save it, but everybody should be using that. Because if you heard other brokerages were using that and you didn't have it, you guys would be upset. I tell you 100%, you would be upset. And that goes right into your CRM. You don't have to put it in. It's going to follow up with them with your open house app. It's going to do a lot of these things that we're talking about today for you automatically. So, I mean, I would still call them that day, and I would still reach out to them that day and try to build a relationship. But then if for whatever reason you don't get them or you don't talk to them, you have this working on your behalf. So just a reminder that it's really, really important. It's something great that we have. I think we lost Catherine forever.
No, I'm here. I'm
there
here.
you are. Oh, you weren't showing anymore on my screen.
That's okay. My computer, I don't know what's going on, but I live in a crummy area. I live in Morris Township, and it's just horrible. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what's going on with the thing, but la-di-da. Does anybody else have any questions? Anything they want to share? Anything they want to add, that like something that works for you really well?
Catherine, I have a question. This is Stephanie. Hi.
Hi.
A lot of people ask me, how do you write notes? Like, what is your procedure about writing notes about each person through your open house? Do you take notes right away in front of them? Do you wait till they leave? Like, what do you usually do? Or you just try to remember?
Well, it depends. If I feel like I really connected with them, I have a notepad. And if I really connected with them and I said, I'm going to start looking for you, I write it down on a notepad and I write their name and I write down everything they want. If I don't really connect with them or they're iffy, I turn the open house sheet over, because I don't do the Missy. I don't do the Missy thing on the iPad, not yet. I plan on it, but anyway, I turn the sheet over and I write everything down that I can remember, because and I'm also real visual. So like I can remember their face totally from the way they signed in, and then I turn it over and I can totally remember everything that they want. I kind of have a photographic memory. It's weird that way. I know people forever. I know their faces forever. I remember people that I've seen at open houses since I started the business, and they come in and I go, oh my God, I ran into you in 2005 looking at an open house, and they are blown away. But It happens all the time to me. But anyway, I write notes. I take a notebook with me or like one of those steno pads, write their names down. Tabitha, hi. Uh-oh, bad day. So anyway. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I do. I take notes. And I can't use my my cell phone for them because it takes too long to text.
Well,
But
yeah,
like-
and I think, well, so I think if you're in front of someone too, it may look like you're being unprofessional, like you're not paying attention to them if you were taking notes on a cell phone. I would prefer you have a clipboard.
Yeah.
Or you have a notebook, like she said, and you should be jotting things while they're walking in front of you. Like they say their child's name. You're like, oh, Daniela. Oh, Daniela's
Yeah.
not feeling good today. Like, 'cause you want to remember things to bring up to them when you call them too. Like, oh, how's Daniela feeling? I know she wasn't feeling good the other day. Like, again, bringing that relationship piece into it, that's huge to be able to remember people's names. Or, oh, you were going to Tommy's football game afterwards. How did that go? Like, you know, they're always talking, like, so have something there and write little jot with the date. So you can always go back like 2 weeks from now, like, oh God, yes, I forgot. I remembered I met these people. Like, it's just such a good practice to do.
And keep it in some, well, this is why I don't like a clipboard, because those are pieces of paper that fly away. So that's why I like a notebook, because if I have a notebook, a steno pad, something that's all together, I never lose it. Post-it notes. You should see my house. Post-it notes all over the place, and I don't know what the hell they're about. Nothing. I have no clue. I have phone numbers from 2005, 2010, reminding me about a person, and I have no idea what it's about, because, you know, that's why notebooks save my life all the time. They save my life because if you think about it, it's like in a calendar almost. I mean, if you do an open house on this date, you know that the things following that are in sequential order. For me, it's easy.
Okay, I like the individual sheets only because if I'm doing your open house, if somebody's interested, make sure you call this person. They're working with this agent. They're interested. They're this and this person. And I know they're not going to go with me. They have an agent, but you need to follow up with them. When they go right into my right into a pad, it's a little difficult for me to remember that they were there because I can see it in my book. I punch holes, I put it in the book and I go through. I like that they're in the CRM, but to me, I'm like you, Catherine, I have to see it. Oh, last weekend we were here, we were dealing with this one. And then I hand them over and this one's no good, that one's no good, I throw it out.
Well, everybody's different. Everybody's different. And my point here is that my system isn't going to work for you, and it's not going to work for Stephanie, and it's not going to work for Tabitha. It's going to work for me. And what you get to do is you get to cherry pick from me everybody's system to see what's going to work best for you. I got to tell you, the biggest mistake we all make, though, is definitely not following up. And
100%.
that's our biggest mistake. And I know Tabitha is a big proponent of KV Core, and I know Weichert is a big proponent of KV Core, and I am like,
Oh, God punished you because we can't hear you. No, I did not do that, people, on my own. I did not stop her from finishing that sentence. If I should only be that technologically savvy to have done that.
so I want to be a winner, not a loser. So that's that.
I highly recommend always using the sheets anyway as a backup. Actually, if I put myself in your shoes, I would do the sheets first, and then later on in the evening or when you get a chance, put them into your KV Core. I understand it's like a little bit more to, enter them in, but like Missy said, it is glitchy, and I don't want you to get caught out there and lose your people. So, I'm sitting here from my perch. I'm a KV Core person, but I'm saying that I like the idea of using the sheets. First of all, it looks better. Like Missy said, looking down at your phone, looking down at your iPad, it's not the best signal that you want to get across. I like the ideas of using sheets. So Catherine, I'm right there with you. I agree. I
But see,
agree.
the
I think
problem is, Stephanie, they don't go back
maybe
and put
what
it
should
in.
be Later. The
They,
open
they
house-
won't put their people in. It'll be 3 weeks later, they'll lose the sheets. That's the
All
issue.
right, so I think maybe just having the procedure, just, drive home, first step out of the gate, get into your KV core and put them in.
That's
Are you
why
guys talking
they
about-
take a screenshot of the when the person signs in before they hit submit, then they have all the information if it didn't go through for any reason. What tab is
That's
that? Go on.
interesting. That's
Tab is that?
interesting because then it becomes visual.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So you take this, you say, can you please fill this out? And then, but don't hit submit. I'll take care of that. They hand it back to you, do a quick screenshot, hit submit. It doesn't go in, you have it.
Yeah, then it's visual. And if you need to print it, you can print it and attach it to the notes or whatever. I
Yes,
mean, you could do all
exactly.
kinds of stuff to make it
Exactly.
work for you. Those are all options. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just don't
Tab.
forget those sellers out there.
True. It's huge.
Don't
huge
forget
way for
'em.
Sellers, huge way for sellers to interview agents. That's why they're coming in.
I know sometimes, but I just want, because the market is so weird right now and we all know it is, I'm not really sure how many sellers are out interviewing. I just don't have a clue. I haven't run into too many, but I have been doing as many open houses. But anyway, my goal is to get back into doing open houses. That's my goal, because that's how I built my business, and I love face to face, and I love everything about it. I'm kind of pissed off that COVID ever happened, because boy, did my momentum wane. And I don't know how other people feel about it, but for me, everything shifted to something that I've never experienced before, because I've always been a very motivated, very competitive, results oriented. I always knew my why. I always knew this. Everything just followed in line. And then COVID happened and I just, whoops, sorry. And then everything changed. And now I just have to get back into the swing.
Yep,
And
yep.
yeah, so anyway, that's it.
Well, thank you, Catherine. That was amazing. I thought that was awesome.
Thank
honestly.
you all for
I
being
so many
here.
Things from that, and I'm going to add that to our meeting this week, all my takeaways for those who are here and for those who were not here. So thanks
Too
again.
bad you
for your
don't have
time.
a picture of me standing up and doing the pose.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Okay, I'm going to take a picture of you right now.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, she goes.
Uh-oh. Okay.
So
So
thank you again. Thank you, everybody who attended.
thank you all for being here.
It was
And
amazing.
thanks for all your input.
Learned a lot today. Thank you so much, Catherine. That was awesome.
Thanks for
Thanks, Catherine.
reminding me.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thanks, you guys.
I will definitely be reminding everybody on Friday. I learned,
Yeah, right?
I learned a good lesson today. Thank
Thanks, everybody.
you.
Thank you, Catherine. It's good.
Thank you.